A close call, a moment of danger when life can hang in the balance.
It was about survival at that point.
A split second where the outcome could go either way.
I knew I had to get the people out of the car.
The difference between disaster and survival.
It was terrifying. I thought it was game over.
These are the people that have been there and lived to tell the tale.
When the doctor had a word with us, I thought I was preparing us for David's death.
It's like something out of a horror film.
Their instincts and resources, coupled with the quick thinking of others, helped to pull them through.
I wanted to keep them awake. I needed to keep them awake.
And their dramatic experiences were recorded on camera.
Your life is on the line.
It's a day they'll never forget. The day they had a close call. Today on Close Calls, an experienced free climber has set up a camera to record his attempt to scale an 80-foot cliff without ropes, harnesses, or even a helmet. The camera is there to record his moment of triumph, but instead it captures disaster.
I knew something was wrong. You're just waiting for the pain.
An emergency call from a farmer's field.
You need an air ambulance. Is there any severe blood loss? Is there blood? Don't move, Graeme. Don't move.
The calls made by neighbours who've heard desperate cries for help. They're shocked at what they find. Soon the field is full of emergency teams. Farmer Graeme has been impaled on his tractor.
I realised that the tractor was moving and there was nothing I could do to stop it.
And a lightning strike, and a story of how, while a house burns down, a man braves toxic gases to look for his neighbour inside.
Knew he worked nights, and I thought, gosh, he's in bed. It's his room that's on fire.
Glen Nevis, Scotland. And Jules Lyons is filming himself doing something most of us would never ever dream of. He's a highly experienced free solo climber, and he's intending to scale this sheer rock face using no ropes or equipment.
Soloing is, potentially, it's probably the most dangerous sport in the world.
But his camera is about to record the moment everything goes terribly wrong.
Next thing I know is like I'm flying through the air.
Suddenly, from more than 30 feet up, Jules falls. Hurtling towards the rocky floor, he has no idea whether these will be the last few moments of his life. "46-year-old Jules Lyons is a professional free climber.
I started climbing at school when I was about 14 or 15 on the sea cliffs at Cummingston. I didn't think it was really for me very much.
His attitude certainly changed. He's now renowned in Britain as an expert at free soloing, the most dangerous form of climbing.
Free soloing is climbing without ropes or any equipment whatsoever, so it's just yourself and your rock boots and your chalk bag, or just alone with the rock.
He's been climbing for 25 years and has tackled rock faces around the world.
When I climb alone, I'm so much more in tune with nature and what goes on around me. You get a better feel for the world and wildlife. Then it does have its massive drawbacks because it'll all be over if you fall off, I suppose.
Jules lives in Scotland, and here one particular climb has been playing on his mind.
The climb's called Holdfast, and it was first climbed in 2002, I think. You look down it and it just doesn't look like there's any holds on it. And I thought, there's just no way I could attempt anything of that difficulty.
But in the end, he can't resist the challenge of trying to conquer Holdfast.
And I thought, no, I'll give this a go.
He spends months preparing, marking out the 80-foot face and climbing it with a safety line until he feels ready to climb without one.
You keep an eye on the forecast and what's happening, and you're just waiting for the right wind directions, the wind speeds, the temperatures. And the day came, the 24th of April, and I thought, well, today's a good day.
Jules makes the 3-hour drive from his home in Aboyne to Glen Nevis. When he gets there, nobody else is around. He sets a camera running.
One of my friends said to me, he says, well, no one will believe you. He says, you've got to film this.
But he does take a number of precautions. He even prepares the ground at the foot of the rock face to increase his chances of survival should he fall.
There's a big boulder at the bottom of it, like the size of a pool table, and then there was some little rocks sticking out the ground, and I thought, well, I could flatten that out and I could roll the turf over the boulder. Mentally, you're trying to sort of curb the fears, and to curb the fears, if you look down and you just see grass, it's a lot easier than looking down and seeing a big rock.
After covering the jagged edges of the rocks as best he can, Jules takes off the coat that's been keeping his limbs warm on this cold day and applies chalk to his fingers.
Just to start is always the hardest thing, because when you're going, there's nothing you can do about it. You're in the lap of the gods.
And then, Jules starts to climb. 10 feet up, he stops, perching to wipe off grass moisture from his shoes so he doesn't slip.
A lot of people probably see this footage and thinks, you know, he's just, you know, what you're doing is crazy, but there's just so much time and effort being put into this climb. It's like, it'd be like going into the Olympics 100-meter final or something, and, you know, and then, I don't know, tripping over or something. You know, that's how it is, except it's a lot more dangerous, and not winning a medal, it's like your life really is on the line.
But this time on this near vertical climb, Jules has no lifeline. Although he has previously marked with chalk the minute holes and slender handholds he has to use for this attempt.
You're just pivoting out on these like 1.5 fingertips really, and just trying to get your body weight up.
But around 30 feet up, it starts to go wrong for Jules when he comes to a difficult part of the climb.
The wall sort of bends back slightly. It's almost like you're bent round a barrel, sort of fully stretched, holding onto these 2 holes, which are, if you've got £2 coins or so together, that's the sort of size of these holes, and both hands on one each.
Jules edges his foot towards a spot where he can push up, but the sun is shining on the rock face, and crucially, he now makes a mistake. He thinks a patch of reflected light is a chalk mark he's made on a practice run earlier. His foot and body are now in the wrong position.
So when I put my foot on this hold, I knew something was wrong. And instead of trying to relax, because you can't, because you really are committed and you're in this position, panic sets in. It could be game over.
Jules can't hold on any longer. He drops. In the split second he has to think, Jules uses all his experience to try to increase his chances of surviving such a high fall.
Some other climbers I know, they really tense up, and it's probably the worst thing you can do. I just go all floppy.
Out of sight of the camera, Jules hits the ground.
Even though that I flattened this landing out, my head was 3 inches from this pool table sized rock boulder. And so I was lucky there, but you're just waiting for the pain, trying to gauge what's happening to my internal organs, or is anything happened with this, anything happening with that.
Remarkably, Jules has come out almost completely unscathed. This wasn't exactly what he was hoping to record for posterity.
I didn't know what to do. I mean, I just packed up my stuff and I was a bit dejected, and I just went away to lick my wounds.
Some might leave it at that, but 3 weeks later, Jules returns. This time, he succeeds in free climbing Hold Fast.
I just like knocking my head in the ground at the top. I've done it, I've done it, I've done it. I just like didn't know what to do. I just thought, after all the months or days and weeks of trying, and even having, you know, the fall and everything, it's just having the strength to pick yourself up and to keep persevering.
Jules is continuing to look up, not back, and his love of climbing hasn't been affected. He's even been writing a book about his experiences, but that particular climb is one he'd rather forget.
Even though that I flattened this landing out, it could have been very, very bad. So, yeah, no, I was lucky.
At Lineal in Shropshire, there's been a horrifying accident. A man has found his neighbour speared by his own tractor. The dramatic moment of discovery is captured on the 999 call made that day.
And there's a bale spike going straight through his body. Right, just bear with me a moment. You need an air ambulance, nothing else. Right, OK, just bear with me. I'm just arranging for some help now.
It's a February afternoon when the emergency call comes into the West Midlands ambulance service.
Whereabouts on his body has it gone through? He's gone through his pelvis. Right, okay. Through the back. Right. And forward. Just arranging for some help now for him, OK? But he's slowly passing out, so he needs to be real quick.
In a freak accident, farmer Graeme has been impaled by his own tractor.
I just had to stand there and just let the spike go through me.
Rescuing him will need the specialised skills of the fire and ambulance services.
I've done 30 years this year, never experienced an impalement of a spike like that.
These cases are 1 in a million.
Grange Farm in Shropshire. Farmer Graeme is going about his regular duties as he has done for the past 40 years.
I've been farming, born and bred. So I've always been interested in farming, yeah. It's all I ever wanted to do when I was at school. I first started driving tractors, oh goodness knows, probably about 13 or 14 I expect, if not before, even though perhaps I wasn't supposed to, but you know.
But this morning, 52-year-old Graeme will get involved with tractors in a way he could never have foreseen.
I fetched in a bale of silage, which is wrapped in a black plastic cover to protect it from the weather. And I'd lifted this bale of silage off the top of the stack and I dropped it on the floor to cut the black plastic off, ready to feed to the cattle.
As he's done thousands of times before, Graeme leaps down from the tractor and goes over to the bale of silage. Except this time he's forgotten something he's going to regret.
I thought I'd put the handbrake on the tractor, but it wasn't quite all the way. Well, it couldn't have been.
Graeme's too busy removing the plastic from the bale in front to notice the tractor behind him. One of its 18-inch baling spikes is rolling slowly towards him.
Cut the wrap, and all of a sudden I just feel something against me back. When I first felt it, I sort of turned round, wondering what was against me. Sort of half turned, and that was when I realised that this spike was right against me, and I could realise then that the tractor was moving. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. I just had to stand there and just let the spike go through me.
When the tractor eventually stops, Graeme is impaled, pinned against the bale in front of him. And worse, because he was turning round at the time, Graeme is now trapped in such a way that he can't see exactly what's happened.
The spike had gone through me right buttock, it had gone across my body at an angle, and I thought it had come right through just top of my leg, around my groin area probably.
Graeme's first thoughts are whether he'll survive. Strangely, he feels no pain, but he's alone in the middle of a field, and no one else is on the farm.
My next thought was, well, I've got to get help somehow. My mobile phone was in my pocket, which I couldn't get to. So I thought, well, I'm just going to have to shout and hope that somebody will hear me. Just help. Help, 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 that's all I shouted.
But the shouts need to be loud. Graeme's nearest neighbours are not at home. But Henry and his family, who live across the road, happen to be in their garden.
I was outdoors cleaning my chickens at the time, and my parents were having a bonfire. And we heard a shout, ignored it really, didn't think much of it.
But the shouting continues.
Within about 5 seconds, heard a couple more really strong screams. And my parents and I, we all knew something was wrong.
Running to investigate, Henry and his parents find the macabre sight of Graeme speared by the tractor.
He wasn't making much noise, but he was just slumped over a bit, not looking like he was doing very much. We full on thought he was going to die in front of us. We weren't expecting him to be alive for very long at all.
Henry immediately dials 999.
And there's a bale spike going straight through his body. Right, just bear with me a moment. You need an air ambulance, nothing else. Right, okay, just bear with me. I'm just arranging for some help now for him, okay? He's slowly passing out, so he needs to be real quick. Right, we're coming as quickly as we can. Is there any severe blood loss? Is there blood? Is there any blood? Don't move, Graeme. Don't move.
While he's on the phone, Henry's mum and dad try to comfort Graeme. The on-duty paramedic at the ambulance control room is now on the line to Henry.
Is he conscious and breathing?
Hang on. Yeah, but he's looking white as a sheet.
We had 3 or 4 coats put on him, but he was very white, very cold and shivering.
Land paramedics as well as crews from Shropshire Fire and Rescue are sent to Graeme's aid. Both the region's air ambulances are also scrambled. One flies directly to the scene, the other goes to fetch blood bags from North Staffordshire Hospital in case Graeme starts bleeding heavily.
My main concern then is, well, how long are they going to get here, and am I still going to be, well, for a better want of a word, am I still going to be alive when they get here, sort of thing? Because that's my first thought. I don't know what it's done to me or anything.
Later, to save his life, the medics and the fire crew attempt to remove Graeme from the tractor, with the spike still in him.
We would never really remove the patient from the spike. That has to be done surgically, because it could be pushing up against something, it could be stopping a bleed.
But it's going to be a struggle. Luck's a mysterious thing. Sometimes it works against you, sometimes for you. But if you are one of the very few, you might have that mysterious beast, the lucky escape. The outskirts of Chichester in Sussex. Firefighters are outside a family's home. Lightning has struck the chimney, ripped through the roof and blasted out gas fires. Neighbours dial 999 after flames are spotted in an upstairs bedroom.
The lightning's just struck.
Okay, and what can you see?
Smoke coming out from the house.
Okay, we're on our way.
It's happened during a violent storm in May. Altogether, more than 20 firefighters are called to the scene. It's taken 2.5 hours to put the fire out. The inside of the house is devastated, but moments earlier, a local man battled his way through the toxic gases, convinced his neighbour, a shift worker, was asleep upstairs. Retired soldier Dave Tilney was at home having his lunch when the peace was shattered.
It's a horrendous explosion. I haven't heard a noise like that since probably leaving the forces.
He goes out to find debris all over the road. A ground floor window has been blown out and smoke is pouring out of the upstairs bedroom of the house next door.
I saw Tim's car was outside. I knew he worked nights and I thought, gosh, he's in bed and it's his room that's on fire. So I instinctively just jumped through the front window.
As Dave goes in, the house is filling with thick smoke. He knows his neighbour Val is at work, but he struggles on upstairs to reach her son Tim's room, desperate to rescue him.
I couldn't get into Timmy's room. I couldn't get the door open. The rubble had come down inside, but I got Val's door open, got my head round the corner to look into Val's room, and I could see a hole that had been blown right through Val's bedroom into Timmy's room, which was a complete blaze by then.
Dave sees the bed's on fire, but Tim's nowhere to be seen. Val is heading home, worried about her dogs in the storm. She has no idea about the fire.
I saw everybody in the road, and I thought, what's happened? My granddaughter started shouting, your house is on fire, your house is on fire. And I looked straight up, I just saw flames coming out of the house. And that was it, I just couldn't believe it.
Inside, Dave keeps searching, but conditions are getting worse. He has to get out, but then he sees movement, a sign of life.
I was fairly low, it was quite acrid smoke. I see something move out of my right eye, and I'd reached out and grabbed a dog, a brown and white dog.
Dave struggles out with one of the family's dogs. And happily, it turns out Tim had a last-minute appointment. he'd left the house before the storm. Val's forever thankful that Tim and the rest of the family were all out the moment the lightning hit.
It happened so quick. If Tim had been there, I'd been there, the grandchildren had been there, we'd all be dead. Total.
In a freak accident, farmer Graeme Heatley has been impaled by one of the 18-inch spikes on the front of his tractor. Pinned against a hay bale, he's been found by neighbour Henry, who's dialed 999.
And there's a bale spike going straight through his body. Need an air ambulance. Is there any severe blood loss? Is there blood? Don't move, Graeme. Don't move.
This is the moment the rapid response land paramedics reach Graeme, shortly followed by the air ambulance carrying a doctor and critical care paramedic Kerry Hemus.
We could see immediately that the spike had gone through his back and into his abdominal cavity, and you know, whether you're medical or not, you know there's lots and lots of organs in that area. The spike hadn't come out the front, but we could feel it at the front in his tummy, so we knew that it was close to the skin. In terms of external bleeding, there was very little. We were obviously concerned that he was going to be bleeding internally, and that eventually, if we were there too long and he was bleeding and it was taking too much time, that eventually he would go into cardiac arrest.
Graeme needs to get to hospital as soon as possible, but to increase his chances of survival, the spike also needs to come with him.
Anyone who's impaled on anything, we would never really remove the patient from the spike. That has to be done surgically. You have to leave it in situ because it could be pushing up against something, it could be stopping a bleed. You know, we didn't know at that point.
By now, the fire and rescue crews have arrived from Ellesmere Station. The job of safely removing Graeme from the tractor will fall to them. In charge, John Deacon.
I've done 30 years this year, never experienced anything like that with an impairment of a spike like that.
The fire service got there, they chocked the tractor so it couldn't move any further. We were advised not to let anybody turn the tractor off because this would cause the jaws to close and raise.
Even though the fire crew carry powerful hydraulic tools, these won't be enough to cut through the spike, as it's made of high tensile steel. Their only hope is to loosen off the nut that fixes the spike to the front end loader bucket so they can remove it. Though it won't be easy, as it's a nut that's been in place for years, out in all weathers.
When we first started to undo the nut, it was very seized on and it rusted on, and the initial turn was starting to turn the spike in Graeme's.
I could feel the time turning inside me, so I had to shout to stop them.
He certainly let us know once it was turning in Graeme.
Now the fire crew clamp the spike to keep it still and use lubricating oil to loosen the nut so they can turn it without hurting Graeme. But it's a slow, painstaking process. Meanwhile, the air ambulance medics closely monitor Graeme's condition, constantly checking his blood pressure doesn't drop, which could signify internal bleeding.
Whilst the movement was going on, we gave him a slight sedative just so that it wasn't too uncomfortable for him. Bizarrely, he said he wasn't in too much pain. Obviously, when you're there and you're seeing this, you would expect the person to be in a lot of pain and be very anxious. He was very calm.
I don't know what I'm thinking, really. I suppose I'm thinking about, well, perhaps what's going to happen with the animals. You know, I'm supposed to be feeding animals and they're not going to get done. And then I wonder, well, how long am I going to be out of action for?
Graeme has been impaled on this spike for over an hour and a half. The fire crew themselves have spent an hour trying to free him. Now they're in the final stages.
Even when we got the nut off, it still wasn't freed off. We still had to try and push the spike forward to release it from the actual tractor itself.
This is the moment of truth. To avoid causing serious harm to Graeme, they have to try carefully moving him and the spike as one. To prepare him, the medical team give Graeme a dose of the powerful anaesthetic ketamine.
He wasn't asleep, he was just sedated slightly, so that when the movement of getting him off there, because there was some slight movement, we couldn't have got him off without any movement.
4 or 5 of the firemen got all round me and sort of made like a chair, took my weight.
The bolt was having to be undone, and then it was having to be pushed through metal that had been in situ for such a long time that it was almost rusted on.
Eventually, the last little bit. We did have to tap with a hammer, which obviously was a bit traumatic for Graeme, but it did eventually free it off.
Graeme remembers waking up on the stretcher as the team load him, with the spike still embedded, onto the helicopter. The airlift is vital, otherwise it would mean a 45-minute journey on windy, bumpy country roads.
I'd never been in a helicopter before. I could have probably chosen a better way of travelling in one for the first time, but I'm glad it was there.
Just 17 minutes later, Graeme's at North Staffordshire Hospital and is rushed straight to theatre. X-rays show how the spike has gone right through him, only prevented from piercing his skin on the other side by snagging against a metal key fob on his belt. That's not the only bit of luck. The spike has remarkably missed any of Graeme's vital organs by millimetres. But it takes the surgical team 4 hours to carefully pull it out.
I saw the surgeon. He said I'd been very, very lucky. Somebody had been looking after me because it hadn't done any damage inside.
I believe the doctor had said if he was going to draw a line through somebody as to where the best place an impalement was going to be, would be where it went.
So for it to go perfectly through him and avoid everything is phenomenal. A slight stone in a wheel rut would have changed the trajectory of the spikes. If you think about it, it's a miracle. It genuinely is.
Henry and his family were the first to find Graeme, and along with some other locals, they helped to look after his farm whilst he's away. Not that they have to do it for long.
We did not expect him to be at home a week later, but, you know, that's him, that's Graeme.
And reunited with his tractor, Graeme can see how things could have been much worse for him.
I sort of half turned to see what was happening. Of course, I couldn't turn anymore because the tine had started to go through me, so if I'd have been straight on as I was cutting the plastic, I'd have probably had 2 tines would have gone through me. As far as emergency services, well, I've got nothing but praise for them, because without them, well, I don't know what would have happened.
Fire crew manager John and paramedic Kerry later pay a visit to Graeme on the farm to see how he's getting on.
When I met Graeme after the incident, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe that he was up walking around. He'd actually been on the tractor by the sound of it, but he was told he wasn't supposed to go anywhere near it.
And being so blasé about it. Can I have my spike back, he said.
This is the spike that went through me. So the hospital say anyway, so.
Because he wanted to put it back on the tractor.
If I can find a nut to fit on the end there, it'll go back on the grab, but until I find a nut, it's stopping here. Thinking back on things now, I think this could have been the end of me. I'm just thankful that I am still here to tell the tale. This is the first major thing that's happened to me. I hope it'll be the last.
That's it for today. Join us next time for more stories from people about the day they had a close call.
I was falling like a stone at this point in time.
It's diving straight towards a catastrophic impact. The pilot has seconds to decide: bail out, knowing the plane will crash uncontrollably, or stay and try to guide it somewhere safe.
I did that and there was absolutely nothing.
Also,